What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Two Friends Talking. I'm Chase. This is my co-host Ricky, and this is our weekly podcast where we talk about all things sports, life, and we just have a good time for the next 30, 45 minutes. So, Ricky, pretty interesting NFL week this last weekend. What's your thoughts on it?
Main takeaway, Cowboys season's over like it wasn't already. Dak's hurt. Trade deadline. Some interesting moves, some really head-scratching ones.
Yeah, was there one that stood out a lot to you?
I think the best move was Darius Smith to the Lions.
Yeah, filling that Aiden Hutchinson gap.
Yeah, and then the worst move was a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah, that one didn't make a lot of sense to me. I will say one that stood out to me that I think it's a team that is good, and they were going out to get better, and that was the Commanders going and getting Marshawn Lattimore for what? It was like a third.
Huge.
It was a third or a 4th-round pick, so pretty cheap for that caliber.
I think it was like I think it was a 3rd, 4th,
conditional
and 5th,
or something.
and then they got like a 7th back or something.
Yeah, but I think that's good value for you're getting a talented corner that can come in, and I mean they don't really have any stud corners on that roster, so that's a big need.
Huge.
But that's
they redid his deal this year, so he's cost nothing this season.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's good for them. But I mean, that's a team they're winning their division. They look great. They got the rookie quarterback contract, so why not go and try to win now? So that's the kind of moves we like to see. Now, I don't know if we want to hop right into it and talk about the moves we don't want to see because FanDuel, this was not our week. So let's pass it over to you. Yeah. Let's check out how we did, and we'll move on.
Bad week. Let's see. Last winning position needed to hit 138.34, 114.48. Wasn't great.
Kind of a ways off.
Yeah.
Kind of a ways off from that.
Yeah, just a bit. If you finish under 250, you're cooked.
Yeah.
I'm right at 251. So, just bad. Kirk played well. Algier got the touchdown, like I said. I thought he would get more carries and they'd pound the rock a little bit more. Was wrong. Breece Hall, 74 yards, is not that bad. No touchdowns, no receptions and stuff. Cooper Kupp played well. McLaurin, 2 catches, 19 yards, 2 TDs. We'll take that. Mooney did exactly what I thought he would do. K-Dot.
Great game.
Mr. Performance. Jalen Waddle. This is a stat line. 2 receptions, -4 yards, and a touchdown.
That's impressive. That's
yeah, so impressive. He will not make it on another one of my FanDuel teams.
I mean, I haven't seen a stat line like that in a while,
Yeah, no.
And the bad part was he had 0 catches, 0 targets or anything up until the last 2 minutes of the game, and then he got a garbage time 1-yard touchdown, and then he lost 35 yards on the last play of the game of them trying to do some schoolyard bullshit, and I'm like, come on, really?
Yeah, just really cooked me there. Bad week overall. We're going to look to bounce back. I think I've picked a much different team because I kind of didn't go too top-heavy here.
Yeah.
My next team is going to be something
Well, that one's tough because your receivers were very good, but your running backs really let you down. I mean, Kupp, McLaurin, and Mooney all had pretty good weeks, but it's, you're spending the big money on Breece Hall, and he doesn't even put up 10. And then Algiers, I can't remember how much he had cost.
He was cheaper, but
to put up, 8 points is not going to get you in the money, if you're not getting a big 25, 30-point player elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
you look for one of these budget beasts to pop off to put your team in the money, and it just didn't happen this week. But maybe you performed better than me. I'm going to toss it over to you, see what you did.
Unfortunately, not. So look, we're coming off of back-to-back weeks in the money, and we tried to change things up a little bit this week, and that was the bad decision. You came in at 99 points, 332nd. Don't know how I was that bad, but I know how.
Dang, you didn't even bust
you check
100?
It out. So Jaden Daniels, the stack of him and McLaurin did fine. Jaden put up almost 20 points. Gary Terry put up 15 points only, almost. His stat line is also pretty wild. 2 catches, 19 yards, 2 touchdowns. Interesting, but for me, where I got let down was my running backs. Kyron Williams has scored a touchdown in every game this season. He has balled out, and this week he decides to not. He only puts up 10 points, 69 yards, nice, but no touchdowns. And Tank Bigsby with the most disappointing. This is the most disappointing pick I've made all year because he's been a stud. 2.2 points. that one's pretty disappointing there. Calvin Ridley is tough because if this were full PPR, that wouldn't be a bad stat line for how much he costs. But because it's half, he doesn't even put up 10 points. If it's full PPR, he's getting like 12 or 13 right there. But I mean, here's the thing. The last 2 weeks, he is trending up. He's seeing more targets. He's getting more receptions. He's their number one receiver. Now it's just going to be, if he gets a touchdown, this week looks completely different for him. If he gets a touchdown, he has 16 points or so. Like, that's a good week. So he's a player that I'm still interested in, I guess we'll say. Now, a change I made here, you'll see last week I didn't have Darnell Mooney, but woke up Sunday morning and I can't remember who I had in his spot. Oh, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. Yeah.
And got a notification he's out. So I had to go and move some things around. And luckily I was able to get Darnell Mooney in there for pretty cheap. And hey, it turned out really well. 17.3 points. No complaints there. Look, maybe my favorite player in the NFL right now. I got him in both my leagues. He's been on my team for the last 2 weeks. K. Dotton, another 17.7 point game out of the tight end. And he's still pretty cheap, relatively speaking. So we're going to ride the horse until it can't get rid anymore. Here was a gamble that I took. And I actually don't think he played that bad. But Hawkinson only putting up 4.2 points. I mean, 3 catches, 30 yards. JJ had like 9 catches for 150 yards. So Hawkinson's first game back, you could tell he was kind of being limited somewhat in his snap count. So that was a disappointing gamble there. And then lastly, the Cowboys defense. I mean, I guess I'm just lucky they got 4 points for me. They forced a fumble and they had 2 sacks, but defenses have not been my strong suit this second half, really. Or it seems like I have a really good 1 week and then really bad the next week. But I think that's kind of an epiphany for both of our FanDuel teams. Really good last week, this week really bad. That means next week's gotta be really good. So speaking of that, let's take a look at what you got here.
Yeah, this week I've got to get in the money again, or I'm gonna have to put some money back on here, and I don't want to do that. I balled out at the top of this thing, and you'll see lower down the board I've got some really cheap options. Going with Joe Burrow, it's going to be a shootout with Baltimore. Baltimore's pass defense sucks. Cincy's defense sucks. They're going to be throwing the football. Saquon Barkley, he's about to have a field day on the Dallas defense. Dallas defense is trash. He catches, he runs, he jumping over people backwards.
Yeah, that was crazy.
My running backs, best play I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
Like, athletic-wise. Like, that's crazy. My running backs will not fail me this week. That's what this pick is. They will not fail.
This is the week the Cowboys defense steps up and holds Saquon to like 70 yards.
I'll be pissed. Saquon's going to go off. Okay. Achane, he averages like 28 points a game when Tua plays.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Tua's back. So I'm putting Achane in the lineup.
Until Tua tries to scramble on second down.
God, yeah. Zay Flowers, like I said, it's going to be a shootout with Baltimore. Getting him in there. He's kind of that number one over there in Baltimore. He's been having some pretty big games. I like Zay Flowers here. DeAndre Hopkins showed up this week, showed out. Red zone target, 2 touchdowns. Looking for a repeat performance against the shit-ass Denver Broncos. Jalen Coker.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Name I hadn't heard of before until the Carolina Panthers traded all of their receivers away. Apparently, he's been doing okay the last few games.
Okay, well, and Adam Thielen, I think, is out injured. Just traded away Jonathan Mingo. They traded away Quentin. What's his name last week? Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, this guy apparently he's been performing well, and I've seen some people on fantasy Twitter talking about, oh yeah, this is the guy that you need to waiver wire add.
So you're doing some research.
I saw his name a few times. I was like, who the fuck is Jalen Coker? And then
I
was scrolling through here and I saw $5,500.
That's good value right there.
So I was scrolling through and I was like, oh, here's that guy.
How many points has he scored this year? Click on his name. And then over on the right, view game log.
Oh, shit.
What's that?
His last game, he had 15.8 against Denver.
That would be amazing.
If I got
for this
that
price, for this value, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But I think you're likely to get the 4 points rather than the 15 points.
Probably. And then you'll see I went with 2 Cincinnati Bengals here. Mike Gesicki.
He had a good game.
Andre Iovasa.
I don't know who that is, but I know who Mike Gesicki is.
He's their third receiver. Gesicki had a pretty good game last week. I think it was something crazy.
No, he's had a good season so far.
Not really.
Well, I mean, like last week, more so.
Yeah, last week he had a good game, 2 touchdowns. I think Ilovas had a good season. I don't think T. Higgins is playing, and when he doesn't play, he does a little bit better. Like he started out hot when Higgins wasn't playing, and then
maybe this can be a budget beast right here.
So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, the budget beast there, because like I said, I swapped Hopkins out, or Hopkins I put in for somebody else. Can't remember who it was now. So I could build this up better, because this was somebody I had never even heard of.
Okay.
I had read originally, because it was like he was like 4,500 points. I was like, okay, I can't
so
do that. I gotta split this up. So I made it to where I had 2 6,000 receivers. Then with the New York Giants against the Carolina Panthers,
I think it's good.
I think it's pretty safe. Giants defense isn't terrible. Panthers offense is questionable. So that's gonna be the team here. I just need to get in the money so I can keep playing. That's all I want. But I'm gonna pass it over to you. This is probably the team I'm the least confident in, and guess what? It's gonna be the winner. Watch it be the winner, because I'm not confident at all.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you, where I had to repick my team this morning because I looked at it and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I'm pretty sure I picked identical team. Maybe changed out one player. But like you, I'm going with the Cool Joe at quarterback. He's been playing pretty great recently.
Yeah.
He put up another 5-touchdown game last week. I mean, look, I'm going to say it. He was my preseason MVP prediction. He's rising. Now with him, I'm taking the stack. I'm going Jamar. What I thought was pretty interesting last week was that Joe threw 5 passing touchdowns. None of them were to Jamar, so that's interesting.
That
Hopefully,
means he's got to get one back to him this week.
It means he's due. He's due 100%. But I wanted to go big at running back, so I'm going with Alvin Kamara. They're playing Atlanta, who doesn't really have the greatest defense. I mean, Dallas was able to run the ball on them last week, so I think Kamara will have a good game. He's really the only offensive threat they have, New Orleans. So I like him here in this matchup. My second running back, as you can tell, $6,200, so I'm kind of skimming the barrel here. But I went with Rico Dowell. The last time I took him, I can't remember if he played well or not, but he's been on and off. He actually had a pretty good game last week.
His yards per carry hasn't been bad the last few weeks. It's just not a lot of carries.
I'm interested to see how this Dallas offense will look without Dak, with him being out injured. CD's banged up, so I don't know if he's officially going to play or not, but I think Rico's going to be the spearhead of the offense, so we'll see. Maybe he does something for me. Now we get down to the part that's not fun, right? The top ones there, look, Cujo, Kamara, Jamar Chase, those are fun players. Now we get down into the budget beasts here, and we're going with Vlad McConkey. Remember what happened last time I took him? He put up almost 30 points. So I'm hoping for a repeat of that. He's against Tennessee here, who doesn't have a good defense, so I think look for a big breakout game from him. Well, I say they don't have a good defense, but apparently opponent rank is first, so
decent corners, but
but no, I like Ladd here. Hopefully he puts up the points for me. I'm riding the D-Hop train with you. He looked really great with Kansas City this last week. He caught 2 touchdowns, I think, and they're playing a Denver defense that is actually pretty good. So that might cause some issues here, but I mean, I don't think it really matters.
That's the good thing about him. He doesn't have to be open because he's just that.
Exactly.
He's never been a guy that's been open. He just makes the catch.
Yep. So that's why I like him here. And for $6,000, I think that's pretty good value. When he already showed he can put up 25 points, like nothing, Yeah. We're going back to him. The workhorse, Kate Otten, against San Francisco, a big game. He played big against Kansas City on Monday night. I expect another big game from him against San Francisco. I'm going to keep taking him until I get a reason not to. It's great value,
fair enough.
Great production. Love it. This is a player that you just swore off, but I am going to give him an opportunity here, and that's Jalen Waddle.
Well, you know how that goes when we swear people off. They usually make a reappearance.
Exactly. So you just swore him off because he played like shit, and I think we're going to get like a dead cap.
It's been 2 weeks in a row for me. He played
I think we're going to get like a dead cap bounce here where you swore him off. You're like, I'm done with him. And he plays good this week. So I'm hoping I can kind of get that. Like, I'm going to get your rebound here. And hopefully Jalen Waddle gets like a nice 20-point game. That'd be sick.
That pissed me off.
And then wrapping it up on defense here is the Commanders. They played Pittsburgh, who is a good team also, but I think they are mistake prone. They might make mistakes. Washington just traded for Lattimore. They're a hungry team. They're taking the ball away. I like their defense, and if we're just being honest, it was one of the only ones that I could afford. So we're going with this. I'm with you. I don't have a lot of confidence in this lineup. I'm confident in Kamara and Jamar, but
I just feel
know.
like every team I put together just sucks.
Yeah, I think at that point you might need to start putting some fingers to the GM.
Well, every team I was putting together for this week, just this week, I'm like, God, I just can't.
It's tough. There's not a lot of good matchups. Together. There's not a lot of good matchups. So, but no, I think this is going to be a good one. But let's hop over and see how you did in your pick'ems this last week. Any games that really stood out to you?
Didn't have a bad week in pick'ems. 11-4. I'm officially 10 games above 500.
Is that your best week so far?
I
think so.
I don't know. 9-6, 9-5.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
congratulations.
11-4. Good week. Need to keep on it. Kind of disappointed in the Texans here, but not shocked. I had a good couple covers. This game was a blowout. Wasn't expecting all that, but oh well. But just kind of scrolling through here, nothing.
Yeah, is there one that stood out to you that you watched that you're like, wow, this surprised me?
I'll tell you what was. We kind of already touched on the Saquon play, so I'm not going to go over that again.
Yeah.
But the hit on Chris Olave. Damn.
Yeah.
And then Michael Thomas getting on Twitter talking shit to Derek Carr, saying he's.
And then Chris Olave's dad also getting on Twitter and retweeting him,
talking shit about him, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I'll be honest. There was no games where it was just kind of like the Sunday night game was boring. The Monday night game was great. The Bucks and Chiefs, that went OT. That was fun. But to me, I watched the Cowboys game. I watched the the Lions and Packers, and they were all okay. But this was a torrential downpour, so it's just kind of a grinded out game, So nothing too flashy this week, but I thought it was an overall good week. Good week for me on the pick'ems. How did you do?
Yeah, so a good one for me also. I went 10-5, so I'm up to 76 and 62.
I'm 2 games back.
You're coming back there, but look, one that I want to point out was very strange Thursday night game of the Texans and the Jets. We both picked the Texans here, and I think, as you can see, 71% of America picked the Texans. So for them to come out, they played bad, and it's not even like the Jets played good. The Texans just played bad. And everybody was wondering how these receiver injuries are going to affect them, but the Texans got to find a way to block because it's not like the Jets even have a great pass rush. And they were tearing up the Texans. CJ Stroud had no time. It was not a game that we were accustomed to for the Texans. I think they looked very poor. The Jets somehow have won 3 games this year. I really don't understand that because they're not good. That was a game that was just very confusing to me. Thursday night we were watching, I'm like how the hell does this happen, And then kind of with you on the Sunday night game, the Vikings-Colts game, at halftime I think it was 7-3 or 10-7. It was super low scoring. The Vikings did not look good in the first half. Well, they did. They just couldn't score.
I said nobody looked good.
The Vikings just couldn't score. But then, the Vikings were moving all over the Colts, but the second half was all Minnesota. The score is a lot closer from what the game actually was. But for me, the biggest shocker was the Colts. To go and you bench Anthony Richardson after 12, 15 career games, you drafted him knowing he's a developmental quarterback, to go to 40-year-old Joe Flacco for him to only have 9 completions or whatever he had this game, and the offense looked pretty anemic. That just doesn't make sense to me. I do think the Colts will go back to Richardson at some point this year because I don't.
If they lose another game or two,
it's what's the point? You're throwing his development out the window to still lose games with a quarterback that you have no future with.
Yeah, I think they thought that they're better than they are and that they were going to make a run. and Joe gave because Joe's a better quarterback right now.
Currently, yes.
But if they lose another game, I think they go ahead and make the switch back.
They might as well because like
they should anyway.
You drafted him in the first round. I don't know what you knew he was raw. You knew he needed developmental, but like Brady said it previously, and it's true that the NFL isn't that great at developing quarterbacks.
No, it's not.
I mean, how many quarterbacks have come into the league where they're like, this guy needs to sit and develop, and have turned out good? Not a lot.
Not a lot. Yeah.
And I mean, you do have the guys that sat like a la Mahomes, but he didn't need to sit and develop. He just sat because of the circumstances. So it's interesting. But look, I'm gonna pass it over to you for Week 10 picks. What's your total record right now? Also, you're 74-64. Okay,
yep,
moving up there, 10 games ahead of pace.
500, and then 2 games behind you. So hopefully we keep this trend going. I'm making up my ground.
Not much longer because I'm going 14-0 this week.
Oh, okay. All right, buddy. All right. Interesting slate of games. This is going to be a great game. It's going to be a shootout, like I've already said. I'm taking the Bengals.
This is going to be a really good game, I think.
This is going to be very enjoyable to watch. These games are always close. That's why I'm taking the Bengals with the points.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go either way. Probably one of those games where the last person with the ball wins.
Yeah, I could see the Bengals winning this one outright.
Yeah, same. Giants, Panthers. I think the Giants are just a much better team than the Panthers. Panthers don't really have much going for them. Giants win. I don't think this one seems pretty cut and dry to me.
Oh, okay, good. That's at 8:30 in the morning, so I don't even have to watch that game. I don't even have to see pop-ups from it on Red Zone.
The Bears and Patriots. I'm just taking the points here. The Bears just have not looked very good the last few weeks. They're leading the league in like off-target throws.
What do you think about
what's going on?
What do you think about the Patriots? Because they're a very weird team to me. Like, I mean, they've only won twice, but it seems like they keep these games close.
Yeah. Well, I think Drake May's been playing well. They just don't have an offensive line or any weapons.
Yeah.
So I think it would behoove the Patriots to lose and draft offensive linemen and some weapons
or receiver. Yeah.
It would be good for them, but I think they're going to cover 6.5 points. The Bears aren't going to blow anybody out like that, in my opinion. Bills, they're going to blow the Colts out. That's all there is to it. Old Joe, his time's going to run out. He's going to be done here, and this is where we're going to see Anthony Richardson return next year, or next season, or next game.
There we go. Third time's a charm.
Yeah, right. Big spread here, and if Kansas City had been playing well at all this season, I would pick Kansas City, but like their offense just hasn't been good. They do just enough to win the football game, and just enough to win the football game is not a 9.5 point spread.
That's true. And especially against a team like Denver, who
with a good defense,
who has a good defense. Like Denver's defense will keep them. I don't want to say in games, but from getting blown out, and almost a 10-point spread, against a good defense that's a big ask.
Kansas City's been turning the ball over a lot.
Yeah,
it's just this game will be closer than that, in my opinion. Saints, Falcons. Saints suck. They're terrible. Dennis Allen fired.
Yeah, I think that was pretty overdue. Personally.
Yeah, we both said that last season. He should have been fired.
Yeah,
like they're mid-season. Shocker, he made it this far. Fun fact: Dennis Allen has been fired twice
by Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is his quarterback. Interesting there.
Well, what's your thoughts on the Falcons? Because specifically about Kirk Cousins. He played really good against Dallas last week, and he's stringing together a pretty good season. I mean, is he one of these guys that you think, if he keeps up on it, is he going to be in the MVP conversation at the end of the year? Maybe.
I don't think he gets in. He'll probably be comeback player of the year.
Yeah, coming off the Achilles.
That's where he'll go. But I think he's had a couple bad games to start the season when Lamar, Derrick Henry, Saquon, Jared Goff, those guys are all is firmly in the MVP. Even Josh Allen has been playing really well. But Kirk's been looking good. He's being exactly what the Falcons wanted him to be and needed him to be. And they're 6-3 because of it. And they're going to be 7-3 after this week. And they're going to win by more than 4 points. Baker Mayfield, it's hard for me to bet against him because, man, that they just fight and they're scrappy. It's a scrappy team.
Yeah.
No weapons on offense except for K-Dot, and got a few running backs over there, but they try and stay in games. I believe Christian McCaffrey's back this week. That's why I'm going to take a blowout win here. Let the 49ers get back on track and try and get in the win column.
Me and some friends were talking about the Buccaneers-Chiefs game last week, and I just like the college football overtime rules so much better than the NFL rules. It's just so much more enjoyable as a viewer to see the shootout style, like rather than Chiefs get the ball first, they go down, score a touchdown in this game. And I get it, it's not like that in the playoffs, but either make it not like that in the regular season or go to the college football playoff style is so much better. Or college football overtime style, excuse me.
Yeah, I agree. It just sucks. And it's one of those things, like if it's close towards the end of the game, Mahomes is going to be perfect. He may not play well the entire game, but when he has to be, he's going to be perfect.
When he's got that 2-minute drive, needs one drive right here, everything you got.
He's gonna be perfect to make it happen. So it's just
like
really tough.
It's like Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers, where it's always like, 14 seconds left, too much time.
Yeah, exactly. How many times has Aaron Rodgers burned us as Cowboy fans with like 30 seconds left? And he's got some damn Jared Cook sideline.
My dad's a Vikings fan, so he had like 15, 20 years of PTSD of it being Brett Favre doing that, of throwing the Hail Mary for them to score, then into Aaron Rodgers of too much time left, like it's... Yeah. That's just crazy.
He's probably doing a sigh of relief with old Jordan Love in there now.
Yeah, who can't play... Who cannot play picks in the weather.
Yeah, Mr. Throw picks. This is going to be a close game. I think this will be a really good game, fun game to watch. I'm going to take the Commanders. I like what they're doing over there. The rookie quarterback, the offense is just playing really well. Cliff Kingsbury is going to get some head coach consideration after this season.
Maybe deserved. I mean, I don't remember what his tenure was like with the Cardinals, if they were even good at all for any point of his tenure mediocre. There. But I mean,
I think it had more to do with the quarterback playing too much Call of Duty.
Exactly.
And their GM being a drunk and getting DUIs, that also doesn't help. Bang bang, Steve Keim. Sorry, buddy. But got the Vikings versus the Jaguars here. I think the Vikings take this one pretty easy. Jaguars blow. They'll be a top 5 pick.
So just real quick, back to Kingsbury. He did go 11-6 one year.
That's the year that Kyler got paid. Then after that, he played
Call of Duty. He went 4-13 the next. So
yeah. Got a game with the Tennessee Titans versus the Chargers. Titans aren't a good team.
But are the Chargers? I don't know.
Chargers are 5-3. They're not terrible. They're a sneaky team. They're just a ground and pound, ground them out.
I feel like they're boring to watch.
Yeah.
They're like Michigan. They're like Michigan.
They're a Michigan football team. Yeah, definitely boring. 7.5 points is a lot. I don't see the Chargers blowing them out like that. I may make a switch right here. I'm going to keep it. 7.5 points is just going to be a lot. I just know if I go the other way, they'll win by 7. So another game here, but I'm doing the opposite. Cowboys are getting their shit smacked this week.
Yeah, this one is going to be pretty ugly.
It's going to be ugly. Either Saquon's going to have 3 or 4 touchdowns, or Jalen Hurts is going to have 3 or 4 touchdowns. It's going to be something like that. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be close. If somehow Cooper Rush comes out and wins this game, Twitter's never gonna let that down. No. It's gonna piss me off. Gonna have people like Oscar saying, "Oh, we don't need that dumbass quarterback, Dak Prescott." I'm like, Jesus Christ! Make me so mad.
I'm interested. A lot of people are calling for, why don't you play Trey Lance?
I agree.
I mean, I'd be okay with that. Why not? Maybe you increase his trade value and trade him, since we're good at wasting draft picks. Maybe we can trade him to get some of those back.
Well, we won't trade him because it's past the trade deadline. He doesn't have another year.
I mean, like in the off season, though.
But he doesn't have another year on his deal.
Now we'll get a compensatory.
We'll get a comp pick. Yeah, comp pick if he plays well and gets signed. I just think he's just not good, and that's why they're not doing it. He threw 5 picks in the last preseason game.
Yeah, that's true.
He's just not a good player. But this is an ass whooping to the extreme. I'm looking like 45 to 10 here. It's gonna be bad. Jets Cardinals very close. I think Cardinals went outright. I just got more faith in them to play string 2 games together than the Jets. Jets can't win back to back. So
That's true. They haven't. So
I don't like the Jets winning here. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Kind of shocking. Just a little fun stat for you that Trey McBride is tied in like 3 and has not scored a touchdown all season.
He's due.
He's had multiple games,
and
I've lost.
No.
I've had 2 weeks in fantasy that I've lost because I have the stack here that I lost by less than 10 points. And if they had completed the touchdown, I would have won, and I would be undefeated right now.
Well, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen this week, right?
Yeah, I know.
Kyler Murray to Trey McBride touchdown, maybe 2 this week, guaranteed.
Yeah, has to happen. It's coming.
I'm calling it now. Y'all come back and comment on this video when it happens. Trey McBride will have a receiving touchdown this week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Bet the house.
This was a game I thought was going to be good. But after watching the Texans last week, I think the Lions are going to steamroll them. I don't think it'll be close. Just plain and simple.
Yeah, well, especially with the Lions going out and getting Zadarius Smith to make, look, they recognize their weaknesses, losing Aiden Hutchinson. Let's go out. Let's get him a player that's a good player, Yeah. I don't think it was a super expensive trade. I can't remember the compensation for it.
It's like a 5th or 6th round pick.
But, nothing. For a contender to go out and fill a need, yeah.
Got to do it. So the Monday night game, got the Rams versus the Dolphins. Dolphins also just aren't a very good football team, even with Tua back. I don't know if we got scrambled eggs over there in the brain or what's going on, but it's just not looking too good for them. Matthew Stafford is still slinging the ball at an elite level. He's playing really good football when he's got his weapons. Everybody's back healthy. Got your Cooper Kupp, your Puka Nacua, your Kyron Williams. It's going to be a big game for the Los Angeles Rams. I think they win by more than 2.5. And I've got myself a 45-point tiebreaker. But that's my picks this week. I think this is a solid 14-0 pick here. Maybe this one I have a feeling is going to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
But
I
don't know.
Was keeping up with it, and I think we only have one different this week. And it's that one, the Titans-Chargers game. So I'm going to go 14-0. You're going to go 13-1. I'm picking the Bengals here.
Man, that's funny if I would have swapped it.
It is.
I almost game time swapped it.
It is hard to say with a straight face that I wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals win this outright, seeing as the Ravens have, kind of just been kicking the shit out of everybody. But
yeah,
I will say the Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Their weakness is their defense. Bengals offense has been playing pretty good. 2 of the last 4 games, I think. Joe's put up 5 passing touchdowns. He's going to need to have a similar game like that if they want to have a chance to win this. But, this is a big game. I think he'll rise to the occasion. I like the Bengals to cover. And I think this is going to be one of those ones where whoever has the ball last wins the game.
I believe the Ravens traded for Tre'Davious White as well.
Yeah, but it's pretty cheap, I think, also.
Cheap trade, but they needed secondary help because it's been god-awful.
Yeah.
So
I would have liked to see them
on the opposite side on Marlon Humphrey.
I would have liked to see them make like a big splash. Like a player that I would have loved to see them go get, which they wouldn't because I don't think they have the money to. Max Crosby. That would have been sick.
That would have been sick.
But no, I think this one ends up being whoever has the ball last wins. So this might be like a bad beat where the Ravens win by 6 because they score with time expiring. But
yeah,
I like the points. I'm with you here. The Panthers, look, hey, the Panthers won last week against the Saints, who are atrocious. The Giants aren't that bad.
Yeah, they're better than them.
I keep seeing these stats about Daniel Jones and throwing touchdown passes in the Giants stadium.
Yeah.
I can't Meadowland or whatever. And it's been like 3 years since he threw a touchdown pass. Like that's crazy. First off,
yeah, almost a whole presidential term.
Yeah, that's insane. But I think the Giants are the much better team here. I was actually kind of surprised they weren't sellers from trade deadline. I know a lot of people were looking and knocking, asking about Dexter Lawrence, but he's one of the best defense tackles in the league. I think the asking price is probably too extreme. Meanwhile, the Panthers were selling players. They were getting rid of some guys that they weren't interested in. Like I said, Deontay Johnson, Mingo. I think somebody else they got rid of. I can't remember, but
they might have. I can't remember.
But look, they say Bryce Young's going to start again this week, so Jonathan Brooks was back last week, but I don't think he really played. I'm interested to see if he doesn't have an injury designation this week, so I'm interested to see if they start giving him the rock some, because that's a player that I was really excited about coming into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he does well there. But I'm with you on this one, and 2 reasons. I don't think the Bears are actually that good. And I think the Patriots defense is a lot better than people give him credit for. And Drake May's playing pretty well. I mean, he doesn't have really any weapons. Ramondre Stevenson, that's it. I mean, who's his number 1 receiver? Is it Jacoby Myers? Is he still at the Patriots?
No, he's with the Raiders. I think it's like Demario Douglas or Jalen
or Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry.
So not a lot of options there on offense. So Drake May's in a situation like what the Panthers did, where they drafted the quarterback before building a solid core around him. You want to do it the other way. You want to build up your core, your line, your receiving options, your running back, and then add the quarterback as the final piece, not the first piece. So we'll see. But I think Drake May's doing well so far. And like I said, I think the Bears are I don't think the Bears are actually that good. So I like the Patriots here.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy game for Joe Flacco last week against the Vikings, and it's not like it's going to get any easier this week against Buffalo. I think the Bills take the shit out of him here. I don't think this one's even close.
I agree.
Josh Allen, like you said, I mean, he's got 17 passing touchdowns and only 2 interceptions on the year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy, but
he's playing the best ball of his career.
We'll see if Amari plays this week, but Keon Coleman has kind of started to
I think he had a wrist injury too.
Ball out the last few weeks, so we'll see if he plays. But I mean, I don't think it really matters. Bills win this one big.
Yeah.
Taking the Broncos here because of 2 things, and you kind of hit on it. Of the Chiefs' inability to blow teams out, where the Chiefs are. I mean, it's just insane to me that the Chiefs are 8-0. First off, when Mahomes is playing average ball at best, maybe even below average, and they're 8-0. I mean, that just goes to show they have the greatest coach in the NFL, and they have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they're 8-0.
And then Mahomes is perfect when it counts.
Yeah, exactly. But I like them to win, but I don't like them to cover. The Broncos defense is good here. Sean Payton will keep the Broncos in this game. I could see the Chiefs winning this by 10 points, though, with like a field goal late with like 2 minutes left to take the lead. And then, of course, the Broncos won't be able to go down and cut it to cover, but I just know that's going to happen. But 9.5 points is too many to not take. Yeah, like we've said, the Saints suck here. Dennis Allen was long overdue. So, honestly, I was half tempted to take the Saints thing of the rebound here of coach just got fired, but I can't. The Falcons are a good team. They're playing great. Bijan had a really good game last week.
Yeah.
Their defense played well. Give me the Falcons here.
I think then another thing on Dennis Allen, I think he'll end up being like a career DC now, like Spagnuolo for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So,
which would probably be fine.
Coach a defense.
Yeah.
Give me Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen as my DC, and I'll be happy in Dallas.
So this is one where we actually differ. So we're different on 2 games, I think. But I'm taking the Bucs here. They're way better than what their record reflects, in my opinion.
I know.
They just
beat up.
The injury, but both their running backs are banged up. I mean, they're still down receivers, but I have faith in Baker, and I have faith in Kate Otten to cover the spread. They got screwed over last week by the overtime rules, so give me the Bucs here. Redemption.
I like it.
This, like you said, this is going to be a really good game. The Steelers are one of those teams where I don't know if they're good or not. Like, they're 6-2, but like they don't feel good.
They just win.
And they don't look good, but they win games. They're scrappy.
Mike Tomlin.
Meanwhile, the Commanders look good. The Commanders look like they are having fun playing football. And when teams are having fun, they're going to look good and they're going to play good. So give me the Commanders here. I think they win this one and improved 8-2. And I mean, they're starting to run away with the NFC East,
Yeah.
Vikings had a good bounce back after back-to-back losses. Much easier. Well, I don't know. I guess it's probably similar quality of game as the Colts, but the Jaguars aren't good either. I like the Vikings here. Hawkinson, another week back, is playing. JJ's playing he is, but he's also playing like the best receiver in the league. Like, he's definitely showing that he's worth the money. Donald had a rough, interesting game last week. He played good. He had 2 boneheaded interceptions, but he still threw 3 touchdown passes and for all he played pretty decent besides the picks. And if he can just keep doing that, but cut back on the turnovers, they're going to be all right. So we differ on this one. I'm taking the Chargers mainly just because I don't trust the Titans to cover this. I mean, they suck. they are bad. They're going to be a contender for the number 1 overall pick, more than likely. Meanwhile, the Chargers, like I said, they are another one where they're not fun to watch. Like, they're boring to watch.
Yeah, it's a boring
I just want to let them drop back.
Field.
I want Herbert to drop back and throw the ball 50 times a game and not play the way they're playing. But give me the Chargers here. I think they're a significantly better team, and I think they cover this. Yeah, this one's going to be ugly. We'll keep it short. Cowboys going to get shit kicked out of them without Dak. Cooper Rush is 5-1 starting, but I think he's going to drop to 5-2. This one, the Eagles are a better team. Even if the Cowboys had Dak, I think the Eagles' roster is much better. The Cowboys will not be able to stop Saquon, in my opinion. He's going to have a field day just like he did the last.
Yeah,
I mean,
he may hurdle 3 people back.
He's had a great season, and it's going to just continue. I was kind of torn on this one, but you made a good point where the Jets have not won back-to-back, and the Jets, like I said, the games that they've won, they don't even look good in them. They've won them, but it's like they don't really deserve to. They won because the other team played bad. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are looking pretty solid here. They came out. I picked them last week.
They're the top of their division.
Tyler's been playing well. I think this is one where this spread doesn't make a lot of sense to me, if we're being honest. I would have figured the Cardinals would be maybe a point or two more of a favorite. So I'll take this. I think this is good value. I think they win this one pretty easily.
Yeah.
Before, if you had told me last week at this time about this matchup, I'd be like, this is going to be a really good game. This is going to be the best game of the week. And then the Texans came out and were pretty disappointing on Thursday Night Football. So it really just depends on what team from Houston shows up. They're still
time Sunday night, so
they're still banged up, but CJ Stroud's going to kind of have to ascend. He's going to have to play a higher level for them to have a chance here.
I did see something that said Nico Collins passed all his tests for his hamstring, so he may be coming back. I don't know if he's even eligible because I think they put him on IR. I don't remember how many games he's been out.
Yeah. Well, if he's back, that's huge. But if not, the Lions are a good team.
Detroit's my Super Bowl pick still.
Yeah. And right now, everything they're showing looks like they're capable of getting there. The Texans look good, but then they have games where they don't, like last week. So Texans are a weird team. They're a young team, so I guess that makes sense. But the Lions, it's hard to pick against them. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And then the last game of the week, Dolphins, Rams. I think the Dolphins are better than what their record reflects with Tua, but because they played good against the Bills, who are one of the better teams in the league. But I think the Rams are going to accelerate and just continue to get better. They've won 2 straight now. Kyren Williams didn't have a good game, and they still won last week. Or did they lose last week?
They won.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I thought they won. They beat the Seahawks. But look, they like you said, Stafford's playing. He's playing good ball this year.
Yeah, it was another overtime game.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp is
down.
Cooper Kupp is back, and he has had back-to-back good games. I expect Kyren Williams to bounce back this week because the Dolphins don't have the greatest defense. But I think the NFC West is going to be interesting because I think all
Rams,
4 teams are like 4-4, 5-4. They're all like within a game of each other.
Yeah, the Rams are 4-4. I think the Seahawks are 4-5 or 3-5.
Yeah, Cardinals are 5-4, and then the 49ers are 4-4. So everybody's super close. So the Rams are getting better. The Cardinals seem to be playing better. The 49ers, if they get healthy and get McCaffrey back, that's going to be one of those ones where like the person that wins that division might win like 9 games. Yeah. But for me, I'm going with 42 points as the tiebreaker. It's been my lucky number all year. Hoping to have a 14-0 week, and you can have a 13-2 week, or we can or 12-2, but we could also meet in the middle and we both go 13-1.
I'd be okay with that.
I'll make that deal. You make that deal?
Except I want to go 14-0. That way we're tied.
Yeah, I don't want that deal. I want the 13-1. So yeah, a couple good games this week. The biggest one gonna be Thursday night. I think the Bengals Ravens game. I'm excited about that one. That's one where it's like, okay, I'm gonna be locked in. Like this is gonna be a good game, especially because I got Lamar in my fantasy league. We both got Joe playing on our FanDuel team here, so it's gonna be a good one. But Rick, any closing statements from you?
Just looking forward to getting some more football underway. I know they released the college football playoff poll today, so it's interesting to see how the 12-team playoff is going to work out with that. I'm kind of more excited about college right now than the
Yeah.
NFL, just because my unbiased self, my team's just not doing well.
Well, I'll ask you this real quick to kind of go off on this. So we already had Robert Saleh been fired, Dennis Allen fired. Who do you think is going to be the next coach that's going to be on the chopping block? Do you think there will be another coach that gets fired mid-season? And if so, who do you think that'll be?
Another mid-season coach. I could see the Doug Peterson going.
Yeah.
I could see that. I don't think Mike McCarthy gets fired mid-season. Canales and Carolina won't get fired.
What about like a Brian Daboll?
Daboll? I'd be kind of shocked. Because he's a good coach. They just don't have a good team, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he was coach of the year a few years ago, wasn't he?
I don't know if he actually won it, but he was a candidate, yes. And they have won a playoff game. So I think that'd be kind of a shocker. But I'm just looking at teams that have bad records. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the rest make it to the end of the year. But who knows?
Doug Peterson would be the main one, I would say. I wouldn't. If I had to put the over/under on 0.5 coaches getting fired for the end of the year, I would take the under.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else is going to get fired in season, but I wouldn't be shocked if Doug Peterson was gone.
I'm with you there. But look, my friends, another great episode. Hoping for another great week of NFL football. As always, this is Two Friends Talking. I'm Chase. This is Ricky. Y'all have a good one. And cheers.
Cheers.